Hello everyone, it is the friendly neighborhood gaming weasel back at it again with the Aeolak primary assault rifle. Now this weapon went under the radar completely in this new update since the Fenmore came out, and this weapon wasn't talked about at all. You know, I've seen a couple of videos, but I decided to cover it myself. Is it any good? Is it a good primary assault rifle? And is it worth investing the former catalyst and time into? Well, to be quite brief with you, I will be saying that it is definitely an okay, decent weapon. Before we actually find out the details of it, a like, a comment, and subscribe would be greatly appreciated by me, the gaming weasel, and I would love to have more and more weasels running around having fun and playing around in this nice community that we have slowly growing. So, the Aeolak. Let's see what it does, what are its stats, and what do I think of it. So, we're gonna move on to the base stats here, of course, and as we can see, has a decent crit multiplier as well, decent status, very good status actually, but puncture as its primary IPS. It has radiation as its innate damage or status damage type, which is okay, not bad. I did put 2 Forma on here, just of course to, you know, make the build somewhat viable and useful. And basically that it has 2 firing modes. The primary one, which is basically the pew pew firing mode. As you can see, there's an enemy right there. The pew pew firing mode, and the secondary one, which is basically a charge shot. As you can see, it fires really good. You can fire a maximum of 4. It uses up 10 ammunition, and it does a decent sum of blast, radiation, and the damage type you put on it. So the build, as you might have saw there a couple seconds ago, looks like this. We have Hunter Munition, Galvanized Chamber, Serration, Vital Sense, Rhyme Rounds, Million Force, Critical Delay, and Heavy Caliber. Now Heavy Caliber could be changed out for maybe something else, Vigilante Armaments if you want to. That sounds like a good enough mod. You could put also Heat on here, and then of course have Heat, Viral, and Slash. Now Slash won't proc as much as Puncture does. They are pretty close. Actually, all 3 IPSs are quite close, to keep that in mind. But Puncture does pull ahead just a tiny little bit. So here you could put, of course, in the Exilis slot, you could put a stabilizer for that decreased recoil if you want that. And if you don't want that fire rate delay, you can also put point strike instead of critical delay. So what else could be possibly changed out? Well, I think nothing much other than that. I honestly think that this build is good as is. Serration could be left out for primary Arcane Merciless here instead of Serration, and then here you can maybe put Thermite Rounds or Wildfire for that extra increased magazine capacity, so that could be quite useful as well. So let's move on to the actual, I guess, gameplay of the weapon. So first things first, I'm going to show it unbuffed with basically nothing. So we're going to summon 15 heavy corrupted gunners. And honestly, the inaccuracy from heavy caliber cannot be noticed. At least in my gameplay, I do not notice the minus 55% inaccuracy. As you can see, that is the explosion working its magic. As you can see, it does very, very good and substantial damage. It's definitely not a weapon to, you know, throw away. Of course, you have to keep in mind that if you use some of your magazine, you won't have all 4 shots of the explosion. But if you waste just a little bit, then you should have a decent sum. So this weapon, for some of the more knowledgeable players, might remind you of another weapon that's in the game but long forgotten, the Staltha. That is another weapon that is basically similar to this one but more slash. I'll show that weapon in just a second. But let's unpause the AI and let's just, you know, put myself some Warding Halo and then some of this. Hopefully I get the damaged enough and hopefully I don't die. No, don't want to die. Show you how it works. I should have probably put on invincibility. That would have been the smart thing to do. But as you can see, you know, I'm killing the enemies very, very good, especially with Chroma's buffs that he applies on the enemies. But I'm dying also very, very rapidly. So, as you can see, much, much better now. The damage is substantially better. If I can hit my shots, that would be also quite a great thing. As you can see, even the primary fire is much better now with Chroma's buff. So, there you go. That's how the weapon looks like. I'm just gonna pause the AI again and then, of course, demonstrate this again. Now, what are my honest thoughts? What would make this weapon better? Definitely, the IPS should be slash. You could put Fanged Fusillade, for example, instead of, for example, Heavy Caliber, to change the main IPS to slash. That could be quite cool. You do have, of course, the Hunter Munition mod that is applying slash damage. I almost forgot. Slash damage on the enemies, so you can't be bothered by that much, but impact not impact, but puncture will always intrude, even if you have Fang Fusillade on. I did try this build with Fang Fusillade, and it still seems to, you know, mess around with the weapon just that tiny little bit. So, the stealth, let me just find it real quick and show you that. The build's a little bit different. I haven't maxed this weapon out. All I have is Wildfire, basically. Let me just demonstrate that again. The main difference is this has a longer charge-up time, but in my opinion, a little bit better damage. Especially like when you fully charge a shot. I mean, though it cannot be half charged up, as you can see. It longer wait time, but in my opinion, the secondary fire mode is definitely more of a brute. It does more damage, at least by damage numbers on the screen right now. It does apply radiation as well, which is decent enough to have. But the increased fire rate of the second fire of the Aeolak, or Aeolak, what the hell did I say, is definitely more preferable. The Staltha is a good weapon, but the Aeolak shines just that bit brighter. So, that has been it. That was the Aeolak assault rifle. Decent weapon, very good weapon. Still outshined by the Defend More, definitely, but not a weapon that I would throw away instantly. A very good weapon. If you want, try it out, play around with it, and see what you think. This has been the Gaming Weasel. Leave a like, a comment, and do subscribe for more content. And I will see you guys on the next one. This has been the Gaming Weasel, over and out.